film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks podcast. Yeah.
Coming at you from the mean streets of St. Louis, from a basement on South Broadway, the Indie Film Sucks podcast. And here we are again.
Here we are.
Back in the basement.
Yes.
It's good to be back.
Oh, it's great to be back.
It's great to be back. Back off assignment.
Yeah, great to have you back.
Thank you. Assignment was good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to, but you know, you're a fast talker.
I am a fast talker. I've been here in a while. I got a lot to
I
say.
know. Shit, let's hear. What's up?
Back off assignment. So I was working on...
Wait,
Yeah?
who the hell are you?
Chris Mackey.
Okay.
They call me Mackey.
They call you Mackie.
They call me Mackey.
Chris Grega.
And I'm Brock Roberts.
First time listening to the podcast, welcome.
Yeah, check us out from the get-go. This is number 30, right?
Number 30.
Yeah, so you can catch up pretty quick. I mean, you ain't got shit to do anyway, right? You listen to other podcasts.
That's true.
Okay, two things. Back off assignment. First of all, Nice job with the interview.
Oh.
Solid dude. That was a good interview.
Thank you.
People should go back
Joshua Gray.
Yeah, people should go back and listen to that one. Second of all, I think you said something about I still haven't watched Blue Ruin. So just to prove I did listen to it,
Yeah.
I still haven't watched Blue Ruin. So those
think
are the two things I did not do on assignment.
I did not think you did.
No, I didn't. But what I was working on assignment is our screening that's coming up.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that a little bit. And B, I was talking about our distribution, working on a little bit with the distribution. So if you got a drum roll, I got an offer that I want to read live here on the old podcast. So
Like we promised.
hold on a minute. I'll pull this up. I will not disclose which distributor it's from. I think we said that. I think that's only fair to them.
Sure.
Correct.
But let me see. This is like...
Yeah, so we had one offer or two offers from this.
Two offers from the same person, two different
terms.
varieties of how they
I got you.
want to go at it. And this is the first one we've seen. It came back and it says, I've outlined two different deal structures for review. Mr. Mackey with a Y. That's not how you spell my name.
Well,
So, if you want to do business with me, you should get my name right. I would
Probably.
think, right? Okay.
Probably. Strike one.
So one is called Advance, and one is called Gross Split. Which one do you want to hear first?
boy, advance sounds promising.
Okay, Advance.
Oh, how much money are they going to give us in advance?
Is that what that means?
I think so.
Advance? Is that what you
Yes.
thought it was? That's what I thought it was too. So Advance, $5K.
That's like a minimum guarantee.
Is that what they're calling
Pretty
that?
much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So $5K advance, but stipulations behind that are 20% upon delivery. So I guess you get 20% of that as soon as you deliver the film to them.
Okay.
30% upon first domestic release.
Okay.
What does that mean? And 50% upon first foreign release. So the 5K gets 20% up front. We could do the math on that. But then there's stipulations. So you don't know when you would see the 30 or the 50, or you would have to qualify that, right?
So effectively, once you deliver it and they put out the first domestic release, you get $2,500, and then once the first foreign release is done, you get the other $2,500.
What does it mean release? What does that mean?
Like after it's on the platforms in North America, that's
Okay, so release to the platforms is
Yeah.
what you were reading into that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's actually split up three different ways, right? The first 25%.
It's 20, 30, 50.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so first 20% they give us up front after we deliver it. Mm-hmm. Then whatever the math is for opening it up domestically in North America, and then the rest of it when they do the foreign sales.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like you turn over all your deliverables, then you get $1,000, let's just say.
Sure. Yep.
And then you
That's exactly what you would get.
and then the first domestic release is done, they give you another $1,500, and then once foreign is accomplished and it's out there on the platforms, you get the other $2,500.
So what's foreign? What's
Anything outside.
I know. What are those?
outside North America?
But what is that? Where
Where
does it go? I can tell you what here's, right? Film
Sure.
Hub, Tubi.
That's every other market in the world.
Okay.
That's available. There's lots and lots of markets.
But a market where somebody either signs a licensing agreement with them to do something with our film there?
Yes.
whether they put it in theatrical, whether they do something else.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's not
That's
really,
what I'm saying. That really
it's not really clear.
That's what I'm getting at. It's not really clear. We don't know what really release means. It just has to go there and do something there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we don't know if that means in every possible foreign market that it's going to go to, then you get the rest of the money, or if it is the first foreign market that it goes to. So we don't really know.
So we either don't know or it's clear as mud.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what my take on it is, no matter what, they're going to give us $5,000 after they release it to foreign and to domestic.
Correct.
So they didn't have to sell anything. It just as soon as it received on platforms in those markets.
I would redline that and ask them what
Exactly,
to be more
sure.
specific there.
Yeah,
Okay. Title. Okay. Term.
Oh, term. This is a big one.
What do you think?
Fuck.
I mean, we know what we thought after we talked to her,
Yeah.
this company. So
It's probably just like every other generic one that's going to be sent to us, and it's probably 8 to 10 years.
That's what I'm going to guess.
ding, 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 ding. 10 years, the big 1, 2, the old
Wow.
decade.
The old decade.
I will be 62 when we get this movie back if we went with this particular distributor.
But you may be a wealthy 62-year-old.
True. Well, I will have to wait some time because I'll read down a little bit. I have to wait some time before I collect that money.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rights for this one are, they want all media rights. So they want to be able to release it wherever, and territory would be worldwide.
Okay.
So we would basically own nothing on this advance. We wouldn't be able to put it anywhere else on our own. They would own all that. That's how I'm looking at it. They want a flat 25% distributor fee. So I would imagine it would be, what, 75 us, 25 them on anything that comes in?
Yes.
Is that what that means?
That's
After expenses.
So I was going to say that.
Well, hold on. I'll get to that in a second.
That's probably net profit after they.
Okay. Gotcha.
So they're probably
This one might be in
going to
that.
spend some money somewhere, and deduct that before we'd receive anything.
And then there's some deliverables in here, which pretty common. I won't go into the technicals on
Yeah,
that.
that's all the
Yeah, we
standard
talked about all
stuff.
that.
Right.
That meaning the filmmaker delivered to the distributor.
So residuals, distributor will pay all Union Guild residuals. Don't know if that would come at net or gross after the
That's something we'd
75
have
to
to
20.
ask.
Right. Here's the one I thought was crazier. I didn't know is because I thought they would pay quarterly regardless as long as there was money coming in, maybe at a certain amount. Like we won't cut your check till there's $1,000 in the pool, right? So accounting 45 days after the quarter for the first 2 years. So 8 payments in the first 2 years, 45 days at the end of the quarter. After that, biannually, so twice a year for the next 2 years. So in the first 4 years, you're getting basically 10 checks.
Something
Is
like
that
that.
something like that? Okay. And then yearly thereafter. So you would think if you went with this person on the 5th year, it doesn't matter how much is in there, they would pay you out yearly.
Right.
So that's something I was surprised by seeing that part of it, and especially for 10 years. Because, I mean, even if you made a lot of money, you couldn't live off of this.
No.
Because every year you would have to wait that next year to get a check.
Yes.
Okay.
It just depends on how much money you made the first 2 years.
No, I
If you
agree.
go
I
off
agree
of-
with you. I was just saying down the road you couldn't really depend on that as an income source because it's not coming in as a steady stream.
Right. Well, usually your film runs its course in 3-ish years anyway.
For a low budget indie, yeah.
Hence the 10 years is not
Yes.
something we would go
Yeah, the
with.
other 7
Right.
years is just extra.
TV broadcast, none. It says if such exists, immediate disclosure prior to deadline. So we would discuss that if it came up to that, but right now they're not looking at this as a TV broadcast property. Holdbacks, prior exploitation, marketing, none. Licensing claims, encumbrances, none. Talent restrictions, limitations, none. So that's everything on what they're calling a simple contract without a lot of T's and C's and, all that stuff for the legal stuff. These are, I guess, what they're considering as the main terms
Right.
for negotiation.
Yeah, if there is room for negotiation, which there always is.
Well, it might be a one-sided negotiation,
Maybe.
but there's always room to redline and hopefully open a conversation.
Sure. So is that the whole thing from the first?
That's everything for advance.
So so all this jargon and this is actually pretty simple to understand, but you still want to have an entertainment lawyer. If you're going to redline stuff, you probably want to have an attorney say, okay, this is how you want to word it to benefit you and your company and your movie, and then go back to negotiations, right?
Yeah, because it is relatively simple and relatively straightforward, but there's a lot of room.
A lot of loopholes still.
A lot of loopholes in there. There's a lot of room for things to be misinterpreted or for things to be set up a different way than you thought.
Right, and that's where you would negotiate back on the 10 years. If you can't get past the 10 years, it doesn't matter. None of the other language matters.
Right.
In my opinion. So there's some certain things in here, if you couldn't get past the accounting terms.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you want to look at some of this other stuff or stuff you want to insert because you're not getting past some of these things. I thought there would be more. There's not enough in here for me. I would have to have 1,000 questions
But
back on that.
that's a short list. It's not an actual full contract.
Right. The second one is gross split. Same distributor, just a different way to put it. And this is the one where they suggested that if they were this is what they would go with.
Okay, let's hear it.
That's okay. So same term, 10 years. So for them, this is a standard deal for them. That's what they're putting on all theirs.
10 years.
Media would be all rights, and then territory would be just North America.
Okay.
So, but I thought we discussed in the media even, is that like separating out like airplane, entertainment, hospitality, those things
All
differently?
rights? No.
No. That's what we discussed with her, that they were willing to break that out.
Yeah, they might be.
Okay, but on this contract it says all rights.
Yeah.
Okay. And here's where it gets interesting. So it's gross revenue splits. That means before anything's taken out, top line, dollars a dollar, like you said earlier, Brock. There are no distribution cost expenses deducted from producers, licensor. Producers, distributors will receive below gross revenue percentages, excluding, so guild residuals do come out first. If it's applicable.
Okay.
And it will be.
Yes. Number one, all gross revenues received would be split 50-50 between distributor, producer, up to the first $300,000. So first $300,000 in gross sales, 50-50 split.
Which means the company would make $150,000.
Quick math,
Damn, I'm
Brock.
so good.
You're good looking
Look at
and
you.
smart.
Yeah.
I got it all.
All gross revenues received between $300,000 $1 and $600,000 would be split 75 producer, 25 distributor. They get their money back, they move on, but you get a bigger percent of the pie. And then if it goes over $600,000 $1, it goes 90 producer, 10 distributor.
Yeah, so it sounds like the reason they break it down like that is because they know the first couple of years on an indie film is where most of the money is going to come from. So that's why they want a 50-50 split. And so every year after, then it goes down. So it sounds like they're doing this it's beneficial to both parties in some instances. So they know the first $300,000 would be a whole lot easier to get than the second $300,000, right? So 50-50 split for the first 300. The second 300 is a 75-25 split. 75 to producers, 25 to them. They know they know that most of the money is going to be made in the first $300,000. Apparently, that's how it reads to me. They know.
No, exactly. They know what property they're looking at.
Right.
They know who produced it, what it's got in it. I mean, I'm sure they got their formulas, calculators, everything they do, their experience, and I'm sure those numbers change on their end based on what property they have.
Yeah, and I guess anything over 600,000, they're like, well, hell, if this keeps going,
they're happy with their 10%.
They made their money.
My question to that would be, does it reset every year? Or is it continuous?
I bet you it's continuous, but that'd have to be...
But that'd be a question I would want to clarify.
Yeah, I think it's just the first...
Because it doesn't say anything about years, it just says dollar amount.
Yeah,
so
I think it's just dollar amount. There's no...
and then everything else is the same. So same deliverables, same accounting practices, and then nothing that. So basically this is pretty as simple as it gets.
Okay, so another beneficial reason for this is also, this is just in North America. you can still go out and find another sales agent or distributors for all the other foreign markets.
Yes.
All on your own.
No, it definitely gives you a lot more flexibility.
It gives you more freedom. Yeah.
Right. And there's things in there to negotiate. The term, the media. I don't know. That's it. We told people we read it live on the air, and we did. It was basically what we expected, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm happy we got it.
It's-
because it was a long email back and forth, even to say, does she have my email address? Is it? But there are some things she didn't give us yet.
Well, before we got these two contract offers, we did speak with them personally for about 45 minutes.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Yeah, so I thought it was a fairly typical conversation. I know this was your first time talking to a distributor, and I know you talked to a couple, and the the two distributors we went through with our other films, well, they're just not good companies in my eye. This one seemed like a pretty legitimate company. They were very upfront about everything. It doesn't mean that they're going to be upfront when it comes to dollars. I don't know. It doesn't mean so. But if you're going to go through a distributor, you have to take your chance through somebody.
I think you need to take a chance. Anybody that you give your property to get any kind of money back, they're just a middleman in order to talk to the people that are giving them the money.
Yeah, and the distributors hopefully will be up front. I didn't hear anything in those contracts about showing us the actual accounting to us.
No, there was nothing in there about reporting. It just showed when you'd pay. Right. So I would imagine that the reporting would come when the pay came. But again, we don't know.
Yeah.
It's all, I say the same thing. We're reading into something we don't know because there's too many holes for. I can't say we're inexperienced, but we're not very experienced in taking this step with somebody like this.
Well, we're experienced enough, especially you, Greg.
We know how to offer to protect ourselves.
That's right. There's loopholes we can look into, and you can go to elaborate a little bit more, Chris.
well, whether or not they're going to take those offers,
Right.
knowing why we're putting that in there, that's another question entirely. Because, well, you're very correct about the 50-50 split on the $300,000. Look, it's slim that an independent film is going to make $300,000. It's not impossible. Movies do it, but the odds are stacked against you.
Sure.
That's what they're banking on. Now, of course, if by chance your film blows up and it goes viral or whatever, and it gains a massive following, then yeah, technically they're taking a risk. They could lose out on that, but the chances of that happening are pretty small.
I mean, they are it's what happens. I agree with why they did it. Of course, that's why they did it.
Yeah.
But it's going to make what it makes.
Is it a bad deal? Not really. Is it a great deal? Not really.
The only thing in there that I don't like is the 10 years.
It's a standard distribution deal for a low budget indie film.
Which is what we have.
Right. And until I can compare it against something else, or hopefully we get more offers in, I won't know what anybody else says. I know what we did in the past because we got a 5, and what else was your other one? A 10? A 10 and a 5 in the past?
Yeah.
So you got lower
You mean
on past distribution
terms.
deals. Yeah, 10 and 5. So you got lower on 5, but that was X amount of years ago. I'd like to see if anybody else comes at a standard proposal because I don't know.
Right.
And I haven't talked to anybody else. Nobody's disclosed what distribution deal they've gotten. I'd like to talk to other filmmakers.
Right, I was going to just jump into that
Yeah.
too, Mac. Is one of the things we did ask them is to provide us with some filmmakers that have used them. Mm-hmm. See if they'd give us information to reach out to them and talk to them about what terms they agreed on, and also if they're happy with their distributor. And I'm sure they do have a couple that they're going to send to us, and it's going to be the best ones, right?
Of course.
And that's great, but we'd also like to dig into their catalog a little bit ourselves and reach out to other indie filmmakers and see if they are on the up and up. Even though if the film didn't do great, maybe it's not a good movie. I don't know. But I plan on watching a lot more movies here real soon, and reaching out to these filmmakers and saying, hey, your movie was great. How's it working out with this company? And hopefully they respond.
Yeah, because that's what you have to do basically is your due diligence. You have to talk to other filmmakers. Whether or not someone's going to respond to you, then who knows? Now, if someone would reach out to us like, hey, how did Sound of Nothing do? I'd be honest with them. Hey, how did Rhineland do? I'd be honest with them.
Right. You wouldn't be doing anybody any favors in our position or theirs for independence.
No.
Not doing
No, we just want to help people.
Right. Well, you just want to be honest, like you said. But I thought she was even honest on the phone and saying, I'll give you names because everybody asked for names. I don't know if I can't guarantee they're going to respond back
sure.
to you. And I thought that was a very fair statement from her.
Yeah, that's why I said
that
I thought
doesn't-
it was a good phone call.
Yeah. And that doesn't stop us because we'd be silly if we didn't go out and just randomly flip through that thing within the last 2 years, I guess we said.
Yeah, you flip through the catalog and you pick out random films. Go look for them out there on the webs and see where you can find them, because we always said, how do they advertise for you? Yeah.
And then you go, where does it come up on a Google search? Where does it show up? What did they do? Because that's going to be the first proof in the pudding. This film's only a year old and I can't even find it on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you also want to search for movies that are similar genre to yours.
No, I would agree with that. If you had to pick anything out, sure. Yeah. That's a good point too. So, anyway, there it is. We got some work to do.
And we do have our second potential offer on the table.
Yeah.
From a different distributor. So
Yeah, so that's all cool. So
And we plan on all the distributors we've sent to looking into their catalog, like I just said, and digging into all these other films and contacting these filmmakers and doing our due diligence and make sure the people if we potentially are going to do business with are on the up and up, and deliver what they say they're going to deliver to their filmmakers.
No, I agree. Hey, before I want to talk about a little bit more about distribution, because I know you sent it off to a bunch, and I want to talk about like how that you had to put a form email together, right? And then I want to talk about maybe tier 2 distributors, because I know we kind of ran up some stuff there. But anything on the festival front?
Festival front. I mean, no, we've just submitted to a bunch.
Okay.
There's a handful more we're going to submit to, which are horror genre based. Either we're going to get in or we're not. I mean, that's all it is.
Okay.
You submit, you pay your fee, and then you wait.
Okay.
And speaking of festivals, we did ask that question to this particular distributor if it's okay for us to submit to
Remember the overexposure
Yes.
episode we did? And we talked
Yes.
about that a little bit. We
Yeah.
actually asked that in this meeting.
and there did not seem to be an issue that I could tell from what they said.
No, that was good. You said you didn't think there was going to be an issue.
No, I didn't think there would.
But asking made me feel better.
The only place where they said that, it could be an issue, and I agree with, is an online-only film festival.
Oh, yeah, that's
good point.
important
Yep.
to say.
And I have no interest in an online-only film festival.
No.
Look, I'm not going to say that it's a scam because it's an online-only film festival, but it's a scam. Look, the whole point of a film festival, one, you want to go there to meet other filmmakers. I mean, network. I mean, we're talking about smaller regional festivals, right? We're not talking about Cannes or Sundance where you're going for the market and to sell you a film. But for smaller festivals, you want to hopefully get your name out there, get your film's name out there, and engage with people, make some connections, meet other filmmakers. So that's the main point. And the second point is to win some awards.
Right.
So, an online-only film festival, you might win some awards, but, you're not going to get the networking function of it.
Right.
And then you don't really know where your movie's going to go after that.
Well, I think those kind of popped up during COVID, so I kind of understand that. But, since we don't need to worry about that right now, I think go to the real ones.
No, right. And I think we all know our movie's not going to go to the big festivals. I think they may have an issue with that as well. Sure. I know it didn't come up in our conversation because we were all realistic. But I think those are the only two things they probably would have had a overexposure, whatever you want to call it, kind of problem with. So jumping back to distribution. So talk a little bit about, would you send it off 10 places originally, and then we had a tier 2 we were going to send it off to. So I don't know how many you sent it off to, but you just came up with this form email that you put out, and then they're responding back to us?
Yeah, basically came up with a simple email introducing myself, introducing the title of the film, and saying that it was featuring Bill Moseley, and a link to the trailer. And if you are interested, feel free to contact me. So very simple, very basic, to the point. Didn't have any description of the film. The trailer should do the talking for you. Didn't have anything about my story. It wasn't long. It was just short and direct.
And you included the trailer.
Include the trailer.
You included the trailer.
Yep.
Okay, and that's pretty standard. I mean, I've been on distributor websites, and there's a big form to fill out all those things.
Yep.
That's pretty standard. What you felt that's the standard practice.
Yep.
Okay, that's cool.
The tier 2 are
Explain what we mean by tier 2. We're just making up a term there.
yeah. Well, we're calling tier 2. A24, Blumhouse, Annapurna, Bleecker Street, Neon. So those are the bigger indie horror distributors. I mean, obviously they're below the big studios, right? You're not going to get into any of those without a sales agent. They have gatekeepers in place, so you can't just submit. They won't take anything unsolicited because that keeps the riffraff out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that keeps their email box from them having to go through to find that one.
Yeah.
That's I thought that it's true, you know what I mean? But I respect that they do that. And we just have to follow that process and now make a decision. I know, Brock, we're back to kind of looking into
sales agents.
Sales agents and stuff like that. And I think we were going to push that off a little bit further down the road. But I think it's kind of maybe back to one of our points.
We're going to have to start looking into like right now.
Yeah, because essentially, if we go with the sales agent, then we have to ask ourselves, okay, what is this person giving us that we can't do ourselves?
Right.
Because if the sales agent only gets us in the tier 1 distributors, we're already doing it ourselves, but now we have to pay this other person 25% to do what we've already been able to do ourselves.
Right. And we're not going to tier 3 or 4 if you look at those as being Miramax and those guys.
Yeah.
Our movie's not going there.
No. So that's my question. What's a sales agent going to do for us? I would argue not much, but who knows?
I would think, and Brock, I think you said this when we were talking about distribution on the foreign side of things. Like maybe that person in conjunction with a distributor helps you drive foreign, right? If you don't sign all those rights away. Yeah,
so sales agents actually rarely do domestic themselves. They're mostly for foreign sales. That's what I've learned. Some of the sales agents don't deal at all in North America. It's only foreign. So that may be a reason why to talk to.
That'd be a good reason.
No, I think it doesn't cost anything to have a conversation.
No, so I'd imagine when we reach out to the people I'm thinking of reaching out to, pretty legit people. They produce their own stuff and also sell their own stuff. So they know what they're doing. Contact them and see if, like the A24s, the bigger ones, if our film would possibly fit those. And if so, then maybe it is worth looking into a sales agent. Right. But it's got to be an honest sales agent. If I don't know if ours is there. I haven't seen our movie. Right. Which is coming up soon. But if it is to that caliber, then yeah, I'd say possibly look into a sales agent for domestic as well.
My honest opinion, I don't think it is to that caliber. I mean, we didn't shoot on film. We have one name, and it's not something you've never ever seen before. It's good. It's a great movie, but I don't think it's that caliber to reach what we're calling tier 2. Again, I don't know. No. I could be wrong. And I think that's my opinion.
No, that's honest to say that, and I don't have a problem with it. It's just and even in their business, they've gotten out of that, right? They're moving up in the world, and now they can accept better movies because they make more money off of better movies. Mm-hmm. So because eventually they got their goals and what kind of company they want to be. But I know some of these that you mentioned, like the Blumhouse and that, they used to take whatever when they were first getting going. But they've separated themselves, and there's actually people that are known in the industry that run those houses. They've come from places already. They're not these unknown kind of distributors that are doing it out there. So I don't disagree with you, Brock, but I think there's a combination. Again, it doesn't cost anything to get an offer letter. So we did have one of our friends sign with a sales agent recently. So I'm really interested in how, and I think he would be forthcoming with us.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm interested in seeing how that works for him, because I think you saw the contract, right?
Yeah.
He sent it to you, and it was X percentage, and it was basically everything you thought it was going to be.
Pretty basic.
Yeah. So I'm interested in his experience, And that's where I don't, and out there in this world, if you're independent, and we just talked about this before we got on the air tonight, is we don't do enough like pulling stuff out of other independent filmmakers, either from who they're talking to, how they're distributing, their distribution deals, how they're promoting. You know, I think there's a whole nother world there from 3 working guys. We put our efforts into what we can in our 24 hours, but we find and we see people online going, I'm headed to this Comic-Con, or I'm doing this, or hey, look what I'm doing. And we're like, damn, knew I should have done that.
Yeah.
Didn't think of it, but man, that makes sense, right? So it's little things like that that I think these experiences they're having are going to help us.
Hopefully.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
No.
I mean, I think we have to ask. I think anybody has to ask.
Well, that goes back into doing due diligence, like digging into these other films that we're going to be checking out, and possibly even be talking about them on our podcast if they're good films.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to invite some of those filmmakers on if they want it to be. If we ever can remote somebody in. That's big technology there, boys.
I think we have a laptop.
Get them in there. You might not be able to see them. You might be able to hear them.
We'll just put a phone up to the microphone.
Okay, we'll get a dedicated camera on the computer screen. Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah.
High tech. Gosh darn high tech. All you 30 people out there are just going to be in for a treat.
But you know what we're going to do, though?
What's that, Chris?
We're going to do what we always do.
What's that, Chris?
Talk about the highs, the lows, and the in-betweens of true independent filmmaking on the Any Film Sucks podcast, brought to you by 88mm Productions, social shit that, whatever. I don't know. It's out there. Just look.
All right, I'm going to start drinking.
Indie film sucks. Indie film sucks. It's the Indie Film Sucks